India's dream of becoming an electric vehicle manufacturing hub has got a major boost. The government on Friday approved a new electric vehicle policy. The policy seeks to promote India as a global manufacturing destination for electric vehicles. The minimum investment threshold of $500 million aims to attract major global players like Elon Musk's Tesla. Manufacturing units will also be allowed to import a limited number of cars at customs duty of just 15% compared to the earlier 70%. A company will get 3 years to set up its facilities and start production. It needs to reach 50% domestic value addition or DVA within 5 years. DVA measures the amount of production that has taken place within a country's borders. 50% DVA is a key criteria for companies to qualify for subsidies under India's PLI scheme. The government argues that the new policy will provide consumers access to the latest technology, strengthen the EV ecosystem, lower production cost, reduce oil imports, lower trade deficit, and positively impact health and environment. The new policy comes at a time when EV giants like Tesla and China's BYD want to enter India's nascent EV market. Currently, the total EV sales in India stand at around 1 million units. But the total EV sales is expected to grow to 10 million units by 2030. The booming sector is expected to add about 50 million direct and indirect jobs in the next 6 years. All right, we're now being joined by Varun Agni, who's the co-founder and CTO Bounce Infinity, who's joining us from Bengaluru. Welcome to World Business Watch, sir. I just wanted to get your opinion on this now. Starting off, the government has, of course, announced the new EV policy. How do you feel that can help boost India's EV ecosystem?
Thanks for having me on the show, Shivan. This is an amazing policy and we welcome it wholeheartedly. Time and again, we've seen that the global players coming to India and setting up manufacturing here has definitely helped the local economics and also has helped local players scale up in terms of technology, in terms of quality and products offerings. So we definitely see a lot of those collaborations happening in the future, where the giants come in and they develop the ecosystem here in India, where we actually can be competitive globally on the EV markets. Not only will it help the domestic markets to adopt products from the global players, it will also help us develop manufacturing industries which are complementary to the EV industry, which will help us grow and become a export market for EV components or EV cars in the future. This has happened before, 30 years ago when Maruti and Suzuki tied up and made a huge impact on global automotive sector. And we see something similar in the coming future as well.
Mr. Agni, you mentioned about the domestic market and the global market. I just want to get your opinion on this now. The new policy it definitely aims to attract investments from global players. How do you feel that will impact the smaller domestic EV players who are also trying to come up?
Yeah, so this is going to be a very good opportunity for domestic players to tie up with global players and really get benefit of scale, technology, and EV. For example, Tesla and BYD have really made huge progress in their product offerings. And that is something that we can definitely, collaborate and learn from. And then we'll also have local component manufacturers in India. And since you mentioned the 50% domestic value addition, that is going to be key here, where we will start manufacturing components for the EV automotives here in India. For example, battery is something that we have been still behind. That is something this new investment will definitely push us towards that goal of having self-sustained EV industry inside India. That'll really help everyone out. And this is something that has happened here in India before, where let's say Hero and Honda tied up and they have built the ecosystem of two-wheelers in India. And now India is one of the biggest exporters of two-wheelers for African nations and other Southeast Asian nations as well. Where this is something that we foresee happening with EVs as well, where a domestic and a global partnership coming together can create an ecosystem where India can become a very large player in the EV world in the future.
Mr. Agni, I just want to come in here. Now, you mentioned earlier that, when the global players come into the market, the domestic players will get a chance to tie up with them. And also mentioned that there is scope for the domestic players to become self-sustained. So do you find some kind of dichotomy there? Because if their only option is to tie up with the global players, how do they kind of attain any kind of self-sustenance? I basically want you to just weigh in on the potential challenges that both domestic as well as global EV manufacturers could face in India.
Right. So one of the biggest hurdles for us to be self-sustained today are the large the major components of EV, which is cells and some of the electronics in the motor that is still in the nascent development stage in India. What would potentially happen in the future is with the global players coming in, some of these ecosystems will develop to an extent where you can see smaller domestic players have access to the technology and components that the global players have. And that would encourage innovation and new product development here in India that really is little lacking today.
All right, we'll let you go for now. That was Mr. Varun Agni, co-founder and CTO of Bounce Infinity, joining us from Bengaluru. Thank you so much for your time and sharing all your insights.
Thanks, Shivan. Thank you.